Hello and welcome to the podcast by the Literature Times. And today we have Miss Mohar Basu for, as we all know her, for her release on Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan. I'm honored to have you here, ma'am, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Zenia. I'm so excited to be doing this because, when you've written something and you've put it out in the world, all you want is people and fans, especially of these stars, to interact with the material. So I thought this is such a wonderful way of doing that. I'm so excited to be here.
Same here, ma'am. Even I am excited to have a convo with you. And starting with, ma'am, why did you choose Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan as to write?
We were trying. I remember the first conversation I had with the publishing house and my editor Bushra on this. The idea was to write about what more than about the star themselves, about their stardom and how
Yeah,
relevant is stardom in today's time. Because as you would have realized, it is the era of social media influencers, right? So, where does stardom
definitely.
stand in a situation like that? And these are the only two stars in the country that I could have written about, because the thing is, I have grown up watching them. They are my childhood sweethearts in that sense to speak, like my screen sweethearts. Like I'm guessing they would be yours as well. Um, I
Yeah.
don't think I could have captured the emotion that I was trying to capture in this book for any two other actors of this industry, because there's a certain sort of familiarity that we have with these superstars. While we don't know them, it feels like we know them because we've watched their movies all our lives. And more than their personal lives and their story and their arc, it's also how we have grown up with them, right? It is so
Yeah.
tied up with who we have become as people. Their movies are so central to us. So I think I was trying to write about that equation. And this is why I've chosen these two people, because I have grown up watching them, and I know most of my generation has grown up watching them. And I don't think stardom of their kind can ever be replicated. So it was nice to chronicle, whatever they have, done in their careers through the gaze of their fans.
Definitely, definitely, ma'am. And ma'am, how like do you approach writing differently for the book Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan? And if yes, then how?
Very differently because they're very different stars, right? Like Shah Rukh Khan is like I was telling this to a friend of mine as well. Shah Rukh Khan's story is the story of any middle class Indian kid, right? It is a story of all of us who has grown up in India, and we've been told that if you work hard and you're very persistent and you're resilient, you will find success. And that is his story, and
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to write. And when we were younger, we used to be told by our parents, which is something I've written in the book as well, that badi mehnat karo to ban jaoge Shah Rukh Khan jaisa. Even if you can't be Shah Rukh Khan, you can aim for that success that comes from hard work. So that's the story of Shah Rukh
Yeah.
Khan. But with Salman Khan, I think the story is far more internal, that no matter how much life punches you down, you stand up and you rise above your problems and you still remain the kind-hearted man that you are. I'm guessing that's the story of Salman Khan, and that's what I these are very different stories, and thus the approach to two books were very different. While they might feel very similar because of the tone and tonality and how I've approached them, but these are very different books, and they focus on very different things as well.
Definitely, ma'am. And ma'am, how do you gain access to interview with their collaborators and fans?
So I thankfully I'm a journalist working in the entertainment industry. So a lot of my personal connections with them, and I have, of course, because I've been doing this for almost more than a decade now. In fact, it's almost been 15 years. So I sort of know a lot of these filmmakers, collaborators, actors, former editors. So that makes my life a lot easier. The hard part was getting their fans to talk, especially Salman Khan's fans, because they are a bit, you have to persuade them a bit and explain to them why they should talk to you. It's a bit of a challenge, but it was a joy talking to them because I think they're a very excited and passionate bunch of people. Shah Rukh Khan's fans are very differently passionate than Salman Khan's fans. And I just
Yeah.
saw that different fandoms very starkly while writing these two books.
Definitely, ma'am. And ma'am, which of the stories, while researching for the book Shah Rukh Khan, which of the stories stunned you the most?
Because in Shah Rukh Khan's
Is
book, the fan stories are very interesting. Like a lot of women of our age group would tell that a lot of our dating experiences are we are a bit spoilt by Shah Rukh Khan. So I think those stories were very interesting to me because a lot of women are like, I want a man like Shah Rukh Khan. A lot of middle-aged women, especially who grew up, who not grew up so to speak, but people who have watched his films when they had just got married, had that expectation of their husbands. And the husbands are very different from what they see in the movies. So they were like, "Arey, but we are not Shah Rukh Khan." They are like, तो फिर बनो उनके जैसा. So I think those dating experiences of women are very molded by what Shah Rukh Khan and his movies have stood for us. It is this epitome of romance. So
yeah,
that was very interesting, I think, in Shah Rukh Khan's book. In Salman Khan's book, I think the most interesting thing that I realized while researching, especially from fans and stories, is how Salman kicked off this whole, a sort of a revolution of fitness, how he was the first man to make gym and gym training very everyday and very everyone
yeah,
in that sense. Every young boy
yeah.
wanted to look like Salman Khan. So I think in that book, I found a lot of interesting, anecdotes and stories, personal stories of people who have spoken about how they wanted a body like Salman, or how they wanted to be as fit as Salman, and how being muscular became this sign of how a man must look. And I found
Yeah.
that very fascinating.
That's amazing, ma'am. And ma'am, what surprised you the most to know about Salman Khan in Bollywood?
Well, because I have worked in this industry for a very long time, I don't think I get surprised very easily because a lot of these stories I already know. What really surprised me was how I remember there's a junior artist friend of mine who told me that the Salman Khan's office, basically the Being Human Foundation that he runs, actually is happy
Yeah.
to there's a day in the week where they allow normal people to come in and show if they have any sort of medical health issues, and they kind of help them with getting proper medical health. In the sense that they can get a doctor's appointment, they can get surgeries done, and they really do it. There's an open door policy to let that happen, which I thought was very interesting. I think that was very very surprising, and that's the only new thing which I learned while working on the book. When it comes to Shah Rukh Khan, I feel the new thing, which is also something that I know, I learned was how he has inspired everyday people. Like, uh, I ended the Shah Rukh book with a story about a friend of mine who was beaten down by the industry, because it's that hard to survive in Bollywood. It's a very hard industry, right? Uh, but
Absolutely, yeah.
how he has gone on to be successful, and today, he is working with the top studios of the industry. And how in his younger days he used to sit outside Mannat and pray that it'll happen for him one day, and it eventually ended up happening for him.
That's amazing, ma'am. And ma'am, how do you balance the myth versus the reality in celebrity while writing the book? Like, how do you manage it?
See, I have realized after a lot of understanding of fans that I think fans like the myth. They are not interested too much in the reality per se. Of course, the reality is going to be slightly mundane, right? But the cinema
Yeah.
and movie stars are not supposed to be mundane people. I try to put in as many mundane things as possible in the book as well, but very interestingly, both of these stars are stars. They're like superstars. So I don't think their life has been anything short of cinema itself. So I, I just play up the myth. I'll be very honest with you. I just play up the myth.
That's great, ma'am. And which of the moment in Shah Rukh Khan's career do you think defines his global appeal?
you know, a lot of people would say DDLJ, but I would say that when he was doing films like, say, Veer Zara Swades and, Chak De India, those were the films that really showed the world the artist he is. Till that point, he was just a romantic hero, right? But that is when he became the actor, the superstar, the kind of he became what India stands for, and that's what cemented his global appeal. So I would give credit to those films more than the films of the earlier half of his career.
Definitely, ma'am. And how do Salman Khan's controversy shape his fan base and public's perception?
It's very interesting how Salman Khan fans are rather unfazed by his controversies, primarily because a lot of his fans, you know, uh, the younger fans of his were not present when the controversies were happening to him. And the older
Yeah.
fans, I have realized, have been very unfazed. I asked this question to a lot of women fans of Salman, like how do you handle this very polarizing star? And you say you're a fan of this guy. How do you go about it? And these fans, all of them, kind of told me that they are able to separate the art from the artist. Like they are critical of Salman and his problems, but at the same time they think of him as someone who belongs to them. So they are like, okay, we'll still go and watch, say, the next big ticket blockbuster that he has done. So they are able to separate the art from the artist, which is the more I spoke to them, the more I saw that women are okay with it somehow. It's very strange, I know, but it's very interesting. It's a perspective on how stardom works, right?
Definitely, definitely, ma'am. And ma'am, did writing this books change your perception of Bollywood stardom?
Not really. I'll be very honest, Divya. I'm able to write these books because I think stardom is dying. I think these are the last of the stars that we are seeing. I don't think there'll be another superstar of the league of Salman and Shah Rukh. It's never going to happen again. And even Amir Khan for that matter, even Ritik Roshan for that matter, or Akshay Kumar for that matter. I just feel that that's never going to happen again because that whole mystery that's associated with stardom that's going. So, and the more accessible stars are, the lesser the stardom becomes. So I don't think my idea of what stardom stands for is going to change at this stage. I kind of am very realistic about stardom, and I also, I come from like I grew up all over India, but I spent a good part of my life in Calcutta, and my mother still lives there. So I also come from that school of thought that stardom is very linked to your craft. And I think that's the change that I'm seeing in our industry today. That acting is very interlinked with stardom, which is interesting, which is a very, very good way to be. But my opinion of
Yeah.
stardom has not changed at all because I do think that we will not have another Shah Rukh Salman or Amir or Akshay or Ritik for that matter. That's the last generation of superstars that we have had. Anyone who captures the nation's frenzy and imagination today, it's gonna be there, but it's gonna be a little short lived. It won't have the decade long impact that we saw with these people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to this, I even agree with this because we can also say that Shah Rukh Khan, he's a different person, or like, no, there's no comparison of Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan.
Yeah, there isn't. Like, which young, I was very baffled when I saw a lot of young people talk about Sayara last year. And this is not a knock on any actor, it's just that they were comparing
Yeah.
his Ahan Pandey with Hrithik Roshan's success. And they were comparing how, Maine Pyar Kiya and Sayara had similar beats and flavor and all of that. While all of that stands, what people forget is that when Hrithik Roshan woke up 3 days after the release of his film, and when Salman Khan woke up 3 days after Maine Pyar Kiya, they were everywhere. They were the biggest stars we could have imagined. They were able to take on Bachchan. They were that big.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
think that can happen again. It's just not the world we live in. And interestingly, that's how I end Salman's book with. Like I literally say that the world that made these people doesn't exist anymore, and thus the stardom of that kind cannot exist anymore. The world has changed, and so has stardom. And I just think it's interesting to look at it from a very neutral perspective today and say that नहीं होगा अब नहीं हो सकता ऐसा.
Yeah. Definitely, ma'am. And ma'am, were there any challenges while gathering authentic anecdotes from the fans all over the world?
Um, it was relatively easier on Shah Rukh's book because I think Shah Rukh Khan fans were very forthcoming, especially the fans abroad. They were very easy to track down and they were very responsive. With Salman Khan fans, yes, it was a bit of challenge for sure. But I did manage to cajole and really convince them कि please मुझसे बात कर लो आप थोड़ी देर के लिए बात कर लो, and they were very nice actually. They have, and I love the fact that Salman fans need that sort of convincing because they are like हम क्यों करें आप क्या लिख रहे हो उन पे हमें पहले बताओ आप क्या लिख रहे हो and I love that I love how invested they are so it was a bit of challenge but I really enjoyed that challenge and it was a great I had a great time I remember there was this one guy in Fort Bungalows where I stay called Adarsh and he and I spent one afternoon watching Wanted in his house and it was just so much fun and he was like आपको वांटेड उतनी पसंद नहीं है आपको सुल्तान वांटेड से ज्यादा पसंद है सर हाँ he said what are you saying and he insisted we watch wanted together and then I got like this first hand experience of wanted with him and I realized acha he enjoys it for this reason so it's like typical massy cinema that and he was a typical single screen going regular man and how much he enjoyed that film so it kind of gave a perspective into how Salman's stardom functions. Like people are so like they're so excited to watch him on
In
screen. It's like this larger than life figure for them. He's like a rock star for them, and I love that. I
yeah,
love that energy that I could feel while watching Wanted with my friend.
definitely, ma'am. And ma'am, how do you see the evolution of Bollywood stardom over the last 2 decades?
Oh, like we discussed, stardom is in a bit of a fragile situation. What has happened is I feel that there are a bunch of things. I feel the pop culture has also kind of taken over and stardom feels a little generated. The other problem is that because of social media, that sense of mystery that stars had, that's kind of gone. So that's a very, very large problem. I think stardom is going to change its definition a lot. But it's going to exist in different forms. But it's just going to change its definition a lot. It's not just movie stars anymore. Like, for example, think of someone like
Definitely.
Diljit Dosanjh, right? Like one of the biggest stars in the
Yeah.
country and globally, and India's biggest global export at this point of time, except Priyanka Chopra. So I just feel that Diljit is a very perfect example of how stardom has evolved in our country. He is a movie star, he's a rock star, he is a very rooted guy from a pind in Punjab, and he kind of carries India with himself wherever he goes. Like he is India's biggest star at this point of
Yeah.
time. So, especially when it comes to global recognition. So, I just think that is how stardom has evolved. I see him as a very perfect example of stardom has evolved from that generation to this. And his stardom
This.
is very, very different from the stardom of, say, Rajnikant or Mr. Bachchan or, say, Salman Khan. एक बहुत अलग stardom
Yeah.
है. So that's how differently stardom is functioning today. You could be a multifaceted artist and be a global star.
Definitely, definitely, ma'am. And if you had to choose one defining characteristic of Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan each, what would it be?
I hope all of us take a little bit of Shah Rukh's ambition. Like always aim high for yourself. I think a lot of us suffer from confidence issues and we are not able to aim the biggest for ourselves, which I think I've always been inspired by Shah Rukh Khan from. Like I always, Shah Rukh Khan, every time I've interviewed him or I've met him or I've seen a movie of his, I felt very inspired or watched an interview of his. It's like I'm so inspired by him. I really want all of us to aim higher for ourselves. When it comes to Salman Khan, I hope all of us are as warm-hearted and kind as him. He's a very kind man. Like one of my very early interviews. I was telling this to some filmmaker yesterday that one of my very early interviews with Salman, I was like a rookie. And usually it's a and this is Salman Khan at his peak. I'm talking about the year
Yeah.
2013 or 14 or something. And I remember that when I met him, he did not look at me like, oh, you are not the editor. Why have you come to talk to me? You are a nobody to talk to me. He's not that guy. He looked at me. He was so like happy, and he's also very unpredictable sometimes, but he's so warm to me. And I will always remember the fact that one of India's biggest superstars did not treat me smaller. And I think that kind-hearted, that
Yeah.
large-heartedness that he showed me is a memory it's a very core memory of mine, because I will always remember the fact that this is one of India's biggest superstars at his peak. He could have spoken, he could have said,
Yeah.
"मुझे किसी से बात नहीं करनी, बस editor in chief को लेके आओ." Or and I'm
Yeah.
sure that could have happened, but he didn't do that. He was like, okay, this person has come. I will show him the respect. I'll show her the respect, and I'm gonna have a chat with her, and I'll be very professional about it. And I love that about him. And I really, really hope that that large-heartedness is something that we all carry with ourselves as we move on. I think the world is very wild right now and very volatile also. Some amount of kindness can
Yeah.
do it.
I agree to it, ma'am. And ma'am, which behind the screen story from your research would surprise most of the readers?
Uh, so behind the scenes story from Shah Rukh's book, I think, which I remember very categorically, is the story about a fan chasing Shah Rukh Khan at the New York airport, I think, where he was trying to come back to Delhi because there was a personal crisis that he was going through. And it turned out that the person is a fan of Akshay Kumar. And Shah Rukh was, and the fan kind of chased, and Shah Rukh is like, okay, let me give you an autograph. And that lady was like, oh my God, Akshay, I love you so much. So he signed an autograph saying, with lots of love, Akshay Kumar. And it just shows me that this man is so, like, he didn't have the heart to break a fan's heart. And I thought that's the
Yeah.
sweetest story I've heard. This is sweetest story I've heard. When it comes to Salman Khan, I think there are lots of stories that stand out. I think the sweetest story that I heard was how when he was shooting for Bajrangi Bhaijaan, there was a old lady who had come to meet him, an old Kashmiri lady, and she said that the family is going through a lot of crisis, and she really wants some help. And the next day he hired this lady's grandson in the crew of Bajrangi Bhaijaan. So I thought that's the sweetest story. Like, imagine you've just gone on set and you're like, please मेरी मदद कर दो आप, and he just next day is like, okay ठीक है अपने grandson को भेज दो हम काम दे देंगे. And he just that easily got work on the film. So I just thought that that's such a nice story to hear. It's a very nice gesture, I thought.
Absolutely, ma'am. And ma'am, how do their public personas differ from their private lives based on your research?
I think Shah Rukh Khan is right when he says he works for the myth of Shah Rukh Khan. So I don't know who Shah Rukh Khan is as a person. I know he used to be one of us, and he used to be this man who literally worked his way up the ladder and went towards success. I don't know who he is today, and I don't know whether he says he doesn't have friends, so I don't know whether his friends also know who he is. But I know one thing about him, that he is a very respectful man, especially he really respects women. And I think that's a story that I've found consistent in anyone who's met Shah Rukh based on my research. That he will come drop you to your car, and he'll open the door and he'll stand over there till you've left. He's a very good host. He's a very warm man. So I know that story, but I don't know. I don't know whether anyone really knows who Shah Rukh Khan is. It's very interesting when you become that when you rise that up in the ladder and you're at the top. It probably is a lonely place to be. So I don't know who he is, but I think with Salman Khan I kind of have an idea, because his collaborators have spoken at length about how Salman is as a person. Like, if you've gone to him for a advice, he will, or some help, he will just make phone calls and make sure you're helped. So I think that is Salman Khan, like, in the sense that he has a very open door policy. There are lots of people who have access to him, access to his father, because of him, the wisdom of Salim Khan as a senior film writer. A lot of young writers go to him. He actually you know takes people under his wings very easily. So I think that is what Salman Khan is. And I think, based on my research, he's sabka yaar. He's that guy.
Definitely. And ma'am, do you notice any patterns in how international fans connect with Shah Rukh Khan?
Yes, I think international fans are. trapped in a different memory of Shah Rukh Khan. For them, Shah Rukh is the Shah Rukh of DDLJ. And I've noticed this, though Jawan did very well and Pathan did very well internationally, everyone has this expectation of putting Shah Rukh in a box. They are like, Shah Rukh Khan should only do romance. वो कुछ और करे
Yeah,
ही ना. He should do a Karan Johar film in which there's Kajol and Shah Rukh Khan and there's romance. So I think they are trapped in that little, for them, he's the man of their childhood and they want him to keep playing those roles. So they are not happy when he wants to experiment or come out of the box.
definitely. And ma'am, how do you handle the criticism while writing about this mega stars?
Well, when you have put your work out, there's gonna be brickbats and there's gonna be accolades. I would like to believe I'm a little unfazed. I would like to believe that. Of course, it gets to one person if there's there's a toxic nature of fan cultures as well. And when you
Hmm.
write a book of this nature, you also open yourself up to those toxic fans as well. And
Yeah,
you have to remain sane through it. The good thing is that the love is so much, the hate feels very small. And this I've noticed on Shah Rukh's book. I saw a lot of Haiti fans who were not, not just Shah Rukh's fans, fans of Bollywood as well. I'm talking about like Hindi movie fans, and they were like, oh, but it has nothing new, blah blah blah. But I think the love was so much from people who had spoken to me in the book, and of course fans all over the world. I think the hate feels very small, and I think that's such a beautiful mirror to who we should be also, that we should love so much that hate ke liye jagah hi na bache. I think it would be very beautiful if we could just do that.
absolutely, ma'am. And ma'am, what do you think makes this two stars enduring icon in Indian cinema?
I think they're enduring because they have that special X factor. Every generation creates this one artist or two artists or some artists who have this X factor, who have right place, right time, right energy, right acting skills, right projects, and that bit of luck all at once. And to achieve that, they work very hard. And I think that's what is the most enduring quality about these two. I think they have the little X factor which others don't have. It's just that. In the movie business, because it's such a risky business, right? You never know what works, what doesn't work. Success is of course based on hard work, but like Irfan Saab used to say, hard work to gadha bhi kar. Hard work is
Yeah,
one of the many ingredients. Hard work is also have to be backed with talent. It has to have that little extra X factor which both of these guys have, which a lot of people don't.
definitely, ma'am. And ma'am, do you plan to write more about this biographies of different stars or in future anything, any plans?
No, Zenia, honestly, I think while I started with this, I would like to actually write very different things now. I would like to work on a different idea or work on a different project. But I would say that if something interesting comes up, I will take it up, because I think writing memoirs is very interesting because you lose yourself in the I won't say memoirs, because these are not exactly memoirs. They are not exactly biographies. They're actually studies of fan cultures. So, but writing about celebrities is also a very interesting way of losing yourself in someone else's story. So, I would love to do more of that. But at this point, I would actually want to like look at something else.
Definitely, ma'am. And I'm looking forward to your next work
Thank
because,
you.
yeah, I'm really excited. And it was an amazing conversation. And
Thank
to
you,
have
Zina.
you here, it's my pleasure. And thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us today.
Thank you, Zina. I had a great time chatting with you, and I really hope we catch up again very soon. And hopefully, there'll be another book by then.
Absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. And thank you so much for like making out the time in this busy schedule with the shoots and your job and then writing and everything in between. So thank you so much for making time for me a bit and for this conversation also. I'm really grateful to you.
Thank you, Xenia. We'll catch each other soon again.
Absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. Till then, thank you everyone. Thank you so much for watching us.